Okay, let's start with the first module where we will be preparing our data and our models to Unreal Engine. First, we will start with Blender, and here we will be importing the models, splitting it the way it suits for the rig, and so on, then exporting the whole model. For the models, I will be using some free models which I found on Sketchfab. The link is in the description. I have already downloaded these models here. So the first one is this Porsche 911 by Kevin. So you will be able to download that. The second one is another Porsche, but the GT3 version, also by the same guy. He's doing the great models. Those are probably some game models. They are not highly detailed in the interiors, but still they're looking good enough for external view, because we will be focusing mostly on the animations and the interiors. The quality of interior and how you can show it or present mostly depends on the quality of the model. So this is how it looks, this one, and the second one. It is fine, like in terms of quality, but still I would probably avoid showing the interior of this model. The third one would be the Polestar 1, which is looking good. It's also free model. It is really suiting the environments which we are going to create later in this masterclass, which will be the minimalistic environments like the Polestar does, something like that. So we will deep dive into this and see how we can create something similar using the Megascans and Unreal Engine modeling tools. So this car is just the perfect fit for this sort of environments which we're going to recreate. So I downloaded all three of those models, and we are going to prepare them first and then input to Unreal Engine and set up the Unreal Engine project. So let's start with the first one, with the Porsche 911. So we go File, Import, FBX, and we'll go with the Porsche, Source, and get the FBX file. So the thing is that Unreal is actually using centimeters instead of meters like Blender. I think centimeters only used in Maya, or maybe also VRAD, but most of the 3D packages are using meters in the scaling units. So I noticed that if you set up the scale unit scale to 0.01, it will switch to centimeters. And before in Unreal Engine 5.1, I really had issues with the scaling when I get models from Blender, and I really needed to set it up, but something was fixed in Unreal in I think version 5.3 that you don't need to do that anymore, so you can keep it at 1. And let's have a look at our model. So I instantly can see it's like huge, it's enormous, and there are some problems even with the display. So first of all, what we need to do is to scale that down to the proper value. So if I try to measure, for example, the length of the car, it's 4 kilometers in the size, which is not the proper sizing, definitely. You should keep all selected, and when you're working in a viewport, hit S button on keyboard and type 0.01. And that should be probably much better. The model is oriented the wrong way, but we'll fix it later. So this is already better. Let's measure that again and see if that works. Nope, it is still 10 times bigger. It's like super huge. So yeah, it's 45 meters. So let's scale it down once more. So press S on the keyboard and type 0.1. Now it should be proper size. Let's see, the wheelbase is 2.4 meters, which is realistic and is close to real size of the Porsche 911. Yeah, 4.6 meters, the whole length of the car. So the thing is how Unreal Engine works with axes and how the rig is actually done. The rig done the way that the car should always be facing X forward, because the rig which we'll be gonna using in Unreal Engine is made this way, that Z is always up and X always forward. So let's switch to front view and now use rotate, or press R and rotate it on Y axis to put it Z up by holding Control and rotating it with your mouse. So right now it is standing properly on the ground. Let's say again. Yes, it's straight forward, all looking good. Now we need to face it X forward. So let's switch to top view, hold Control again and rotate it to X forward. So here it's X forward and it should be facing this way. Half of the work is done, but what we need to check also that we don't have any wheel camber. So if you select the wheel and let's hide everything else with the Shift H, you should see that the wheel is straight. It's just like going straight down and it's not angled somehow or doesn't have camber, because you will have the camber in the rig, and when you're getting the data from the modeler or from your client or from I don't know, VRAD export from your colleague, if you're working in the automotive industry, they either should prepare the wheel that it stays straight, or they should give you the values for how much camber is that. Usually it's like 1 degree or something, so it is like 1 degree camber, or maybe even less, maybe like 0.8 degrees. But yeah, there are sometimes some camber. You need to avoid the camber. There should be no camber at all. It always should be standing straight, because you can put the camber on the car inside Unreal Engine, so you don't need to do that in Blender or something, or in the car model, because most of the like VRAD or like automotive presentations, they are done with the static cars, and with the static car they want to wheel to be with the camber, so because it has the load on the car. Okay, so here we have everything we need, and now we need to split the model the way it will work with the rig. So the rig logics is built like you don't need any bones. You don't need that at all. So you don't need to rig the car in Blender, prepare the bones, assign weights or assign geometry to the bones. You just need to export separate parts. So first we will take the wheels. So here we have the front wheel, and we first exporting the rotating part. The rotating part is basically like everything here, and also the brake disc, the inside, and the tire. Let's try again. I'll just pick too much. By holding Shift, you can click all of those parts. Sometimes there are a lot. Unfortunately, this model, as you can see, is not grouped properly. Sometimes you have the model grouped properly, and you just can select one group of the wheel and so on. And we will select all the parts of the wheel. You can check if you selected everything by pressing H on your keyboard and see if it's like hiding all the parts which you need. Here I definitely didn't select all what I need. Still not there. Also this one. Okay, almost there. Okay, so good. This last part, it's the part of the brake calipers, so we are not gonna take that one. The thing is, like with this, which wheel you should pick. You should always pick the passenger wheel, the right one, because for the rig, you don't need all 4 wheels, you just need 2 of them, because they will be basically rotated and they will be like mirrored in the rig. So you just need on one side of the car. So that's the passenger side or driver's side if you are from UK. So you pick the right wheel of the car. Here we have it. It's all selected, all proper. Now we need to export that. Click File, Export, FBX. Here I will create the new folder and will name it Porsche Unreal Engine. Open this folder and this is gonna be front wheel. In terms of settings which you need to check, you always limit it to selected objects because we don't want to export the whole car. We want to split that car. And this is just the way I used to it, and I think it's just like better to do it this way instead of exporting the whole car mesh and then putting the whole car mesh inside Unreal Engine, and you won't be able to define which parts you are just putting in. And sometimes I prefer to merge them, sometimes I prefer to import them not merged, and this is just like faster and better because it takes much more time to split it in Unreal Engine and prepare that for the rig than just export these few things from Blender. So you limit that to selected objects, you select mesh and other by holding Shift button. Then in transform, select forward X and Z up. Then we don't use the bake animation. We don't have any animation, so don't use that bake animation. Uncheck this box. In armature, remove the tick from add leaf bones, and in geometry, smoothing groups, select face, and keep the apply modifiers, because sometimes there are modifiers in the cars and they are mirroring the geometry, and if you don't apply modifiers, they will not be used and you will have half of your car disappeared. So this one is correct and we hit export. Okay, we have one wheel already prepared, so we can hide it. Now let's select everything what is for the caliper. With the calipers, it is a little bit different. If the caliper is not standing like with a straight angle, or if the caliper has something written on it, you can't export only one caliper. You would need the caliper from both sides, because it's a little bit different how it works with the rotation. If you rotate the wheel on 180 degrees, it will be like that. But if you rotate the caliper on 180 degrees, it will not be here, it will be on the other side. So basically it will be there, and we don't want that. We want it to sit at the same spot. And also, even if you use multiplication by -1, for example, and it will mirror the geometry, you will not have the proper writing on the caliper. So the calipers we would need to export from both sides. So I will export the caliper right now with all its parts. Okay, now the writing. Okay, good. And now I will do the same way when you export in the Blender remembers the settings, so I just need to name it front right, or just FR, which will be front right caliper. Okay, export. Now I will hide it too because I don't need it anymore. Let's go further and see what is happening here. Let's export the rear wheel. Okay, the same way, just select everything, don't miss any parts. Be sure that you picked all of the wheel, including the brake disc. And if you hide it, okay, so yeah, almost there. Just the writing. Okay, cool. Now I picked all the wheel. So I hit File, Export again, FBX, and now I'll have it as rear wheel. Export FBX. Nice. Now I can hide it, and let's get the caliper. I'm taking all of these parts again. Okay, let's check. Yep, everything is selected. File, export, FBX. Now that would be rear right caliper. Export, done. Now I can hide it, so I don't need it anymore. I can hide the entire wheel here. Okay, cool. And this one. Okay, great. Now I would select all parts of left caliper. Okay. Export FBX. Front left caliper. Export. Also hide it. Same we are doing with this rear wheel. Oh, oops, this one should be there. Now is the question if I exported this caliper holder. No, I did not. So I also hid that, which is bad. So yeah, I would need to unhide everything and do that again for the front caliper. Sometimes that happens. Not a big deal. Okay. Okay, nice. Now it's better. This is all of the parts. Yes. File. Export FBX. Front left caliper. We're going to replace it and hide. Good. Now the rear one. I'm hiding those parts because I will be selecting everything afterwards and I would need the body. Okay. And the writing here. Cool. File, export, FBX, and that would be rear left caliper. Export. And now I can hide it. Okay, we are left with the body, but with the body there are also some limitations which we need to consider. There are some also specific way to export the body, and I prefer to split the glass of the body because sometimes in Lumen there are problems with the merged meshes and we would like to avoid it. I will show you later how that looks and what happens usually with the glass if you are not splitting that. Also, I just prefer to, separate it. So I'll go with this glass, the windshield, windows, rear glass, and the glass which covers the back here. And I think this is it. If I hide it, yeah, this is fine. That looks fine. So yeah, now we will be exporting the glass separately. File, export, FBX, and that should be glass. Now we can hide it, select everything else, file, export, and that would be our body. I'll name it 91 body. Okay, cool. This one is done with the body of this 911. Now let's try doing the same, but with the other Porsche. So let's file, import that, FBX. I know that other Porsche has a little bit of difference and there are some troubles. I wanted to make that on purpose and pick this car on purpose because there are few minor issues that you may encounter, and I would just like, to show you what you can do in terms of that, because sometimes people who are preparing the models are merging stuff by materials. Again, this one doesn't have any groups. It's just like merged in a weird way, but that doesn't matter. You can do that with any model, basically. So here's the thing. The tires are merged by material. You can see there is just like rear and front tire. They are the same mesh. And when you import that into Unreal Engine, you will have it also the same mesh, which is not kind of comfortable. Same goes with the rims. They're just all 4 rims and they are here all the same, just like it's one mesh. But we need only one front wheel. In that case, I think like the people who work with Blender, they know what to do. They just like you press tab on your keyboard and you enter the edit mode. In the edit mode, you can just select only this part. Like if you go into wireframe and just do like this, and you will have one rim. So we need to separate that. This is our one rim, which will be for the front tire, right? And we will split that a little bit later. First of all, let's again position our car in the proper way. So that should be facing X forward. Rotate and turn that facing X forward. I'm just releasing the control button too early. Yeah. Okay. Seems good. Maybe let's move it and make it touch the ground. Now let's check the sizing that all these measurements are correct. Yes, sort of it is, right? Okay, good. And also, before inputting, don't forget to check the normals orientation. So if you go there and check the face orientation, here everything is fine, but sometimes you may have it like different ways. So when it's red, because Unreal doesn't have by default, it doesn't have the double-sided materials. And sometimes even double-sided materials doesn't help. It just looks bad and blacked and really, really strange. Path tracing doesn't care. It always renders geometry just like it is double-sided. But really don't forget to check the face orientation, because sometimes it can be red here, and if it's faced like not the proper way, then you'll have it's completely transparent and Unreal, and you will not see if there should be some net or something. It just will not be present. It will be completely transparent, and that may give you some weird results. And let's go back to our wheels. So let's switch to edit mode. We have our wheel there, and you just like right click separate selection. Now you have separated rim, and if you click on that, you have only one. Now you need to do the same for the tire mesh. Select the tire mesh, click tab, switch to wireframe mode, go and select only this tire, and right click separate selection. The next thing is just this small part, which is the brake caliper, and for some reason the mount also. The brakes are looking terrible, so we're not going to use them. I think we will use the one, because how the rig made, you can use any other model brake calipers and just get one from this part and another from that part. It doesn't matter, so you can mix them whatever you want. So yeah, we will not be using this brake. It just like looks really, really bad. It's terrible. Okay, let's split this one too. So again, we will be selecting through the wireframe, because when you use the wireframe mode, it selects everything behind. Great. So this one also separate selection, and boom, we have one wheel which we can export. So let's check it. Yeah, all correct. All looks fine. File, export, FBX. Now let's create the new folder. Porsche GT3 Unreal Engine. And that would be wheel front. Okay. Now let's do the same with the rear wheel. Okay. Here we go. Wireframe mode. Separate selection. This one. Separate selection. This one. This one is already separated. Okay, cool. Let's see. We hide it. Yes, correct. Again. Wheel rear. Export. Okay, now let's see. Yeah, there is some sort of suspension. Probably, yeah, it's merged with some other different things, because we already have the suspension in the rig. So I believe we can just remove this part or hide it. Let's do it a little bit later, after we hide all the wheels, so we don't have the wheels anymore. Okay, now we need to... Oh, there is also some sort of suspension here and there. Nice. I like when there are so much details in the car models. So let's switch to edit mode, and as it has a lot of stuff, I don't want, to go through the whole material list and do this checking out how much of the materials we have for each part. Probably this one is one. Anyway, so here what I'm gonna do is just like check there what I can select, what I should not select. I think all of those parts may be safely removed or hidden. If I hit Ctrl L to select more of this geo. Okay, let's select everything. Okay, wireframe mode. Oh my, that's also taking a hood into consideration. Okay, no, not a problem. So I think this is the worst case scenario which you can have during the car import or preparation. Oh my. There's a lot of things which are linked and which should not be linked, to be honest. Okay, I think we can hide this one. Okay, cool. Looks much better. This one too. Let's hide it. Oh yeah, that actually works. Okay, you can hide also in the edit mode, so you don't need to, go through the whole of bunch of things and separate it or delete it. So yeah, you can preserve the model itself and not hide anything or delete anything. Okay. Seems pretty fine. Almost there. Okay, cool. The front wheel is done. Good. And don't worry that it's showing in the edit mode. That's fine. It will be hidden during the export. Okay, let's see. What is this? This is a lot of stickers or something which are just everywhere, but we don't care. We can easily hide this. Nice. This one is hidden. Because we don't want to hide all parts, we just hide in these ones. Okay. Okay, cool. And now we need to hide the rear suspension and rear caliper. My god, they are ugly. Okay, wireframe. Let's see what we get. Yeah, too much. Control L to expand the selection. Okay, let's see. Hide this one. This one too, I think. Yep. What is this also? Good. That works. And now the last part. Okay. Okay, that's it. That is it. Now we can select this and export as the body file. Export FBX, and that should be our body. Ah, no, wait, I forgot. We need to export the glass separately first. Okay. This one, and the front one. I think there is also the glass inside. I think it's two-sided. Yep, it's two-sided. Okay. Yep. Hide. Oh, there is like 3 glasses, or what is happening? Feels like it. There is another layer of glass. Yes. Okay. Good. Really, that's really good model. Despite the calipers are super ugly, but yeah, that's really good. Okay. So we've got the glass. Now we can export that separately. Export APX glass. Then hide this one and export the rest. It's GT3 body. Yep, looking cool. I'll keep it for now, and we can actually jump into Unreal right now. As we have already 2 cars prepared, let's do this. So with the project which you are receiving, this is the project which is in the files which you get with the masterclass. It contains the rig and one of the environments. First time when you open it, you need to enable few things. Let's close all of those windows. You will be greeted with this empty scene with this rig already sitting in the scene. But before we start doing anything, we need to enable few features in the project which are really needed for our pipeline. So you go to settings and go to plugins. Here you need to find modeling tools. You need to enable both of them. Modeling tools editor mode, click yes, and static mesh editor modeling mode, click yes. Also, you need to add render passes. Move your render queue, additional render passes. We would need that later when we will be rendering the files. Hit yes. Also check that you have ProRes media enabled, because this one is also going to be used for movie render queue to render in ProRes for data saving. Check that you have movie render queue enabled. So this plugin should be also enabled. And before we restart, don't restart yet, go to project settings and make sure that you have the hardware ray tracing enabled. Use hardware ray tracing when available, and support hardware ray tracing, and also check that you have the path tracer enabled. Path tracing is enabled. And the last one is high quality translucency reflections. So enable this one too. And after that, you can restart the project. Okay, so when you have this prepared and the project is set, we have all the plugins which we need for our work. We can import the models. Let's start with our Porsche 911, the usual one. So in the content, hit new folder and create Porsche 911, the usual version. Here, you can open the folder, this one which we have created, Porsche Unreal Engine, and just drag and drop the body. We do not want to create materials and do not want to create instances or anything else, and we don't want to import textures. Anyway, it will not find textures because it's in different folder. In advanced settings, make sure that we have combined meshes. We are not going to use combined meshes for all of the parts which were important, but here this is just necessary because you'll have only one mesh which is easier to handle and easier to place in the rig. So hit import all. It will be significantly faster than importing lots of meshes, and also faster than importing skeletal mesh. And with skeletal mesh, you can sometimes have some troubles. Unreal doesn't read it, doesn't see the bone. You edit leaf bones or something, and just like it's causing issues. This one is unnecessary completely. That's not a problem. There's just like some names of the materials were not correct or had duplicates, and it was just like renamed. So don't worry about that. That is all fine. So here we have our rig, and just drop the body into the scene and check if it is correct sizing. If it's like somewhat nearby the size of the rig, it is correct. And also this is the front part of the rig where you have the steering controller. So yeah, this is the front, and if you drag and drop your car here and the front is matching, all is good. You are fine to go. So let's do other parts. Let's go with this, just calipers, front wheels, rear wheels, all of that will be with the combined meshes. Don't forget, it should be there, combined meshes. Import all, it will import all of the meshes. And if we pick all of them, we will have almost a proper car because we only have the wheels from one side. The next thing, we need to import the glass. With the glass, there is a different trick. When you import the glass, you should not use the combined meshes for the glass. I will explain later why, but just for now, remember, so when you import in the glass, and this is the reason why I have split the glass from the body mesh. So just be sure that you do not combine meshes when you import in the glass. Yes, you will have like multiple stuff, but to be honest, it's not the problem because splitting that in Unreal would be a little bit tougher and will take some time, but our mesh is completely fine. So it all sits well, everything is good. We have, for each window, we have separate glass, and there is a reason for that. When we start shading, you will see what was the purpose for this trick. And for this module, it is everything what I wanted to share. This is the import. Next, we are going to adjust model pivots, shade the car, and put it on the rig.